Have you ever thought to yourself, I really need to start preventing breast cancer, and green vegetables are one of the great ways to do it, yet I hate the taste of them. And actually, the only thing green that I eat is salsa verde with some tortilla chips. Well, then today's video is just for you. I am Dr. D. Grace of the Cancer Detox, where we help educate women on breast cancer prevention. I'm a PhD scientist, author, and health coach focused on helping patients, survivors, and those wanting to stay ahead of the curve learn and adopt the best ways to prevent a new or recurring cancer. There's online self-paced programs, group coaching, or one-on-one health coaching that anyone can do. But today's topic is focused on breast cancer. And my book, Cancer Prevention, the Diet and Lifestyle Habits That Cancer Hates, actually has a good amount of information specific just to breast cancer, preventing a new or recurring breast cancer. But let's dive into today's topic. A lot of women come to me and say, hey, I know what the science says. I know what those superfood lists say. And green vegetables are typically top of the list when it comes to preventing breast cancer, as is concerned to foods. There's a lot of ways you can focus on breast cancer prevention, but today we're just talking about foods. So you've heard it all before that vegetables are an important part of any healthy diet, and they have an effect on lowering the risk of breast cancer. However, you just really don't like it. It's not your thing. You don't vibe with green vegetables at all. So, how do you prevent breast cancer if you don't like green vegetables? Well, we're going to talk about a couple of tips, but first, I want to get into where we are right now with the science on green vegetables and breast cancer prevention. Um, Recent studies have shown that eating a diet containing green leafy vegetables can reduce the risk of death by 20% in breast cancer survivors. Okay, so the women in this study, well, there were quite a lot of women. First of all, there were almost 9,000 pre and post menopausal female breast cancer survivors in the study with stage 1 to 3 cancer. And they were eating about 1 to 1.7 servings of these vegetables a day. So green leafy vegetables have a phenomenal effect on lowering the risk. However, I do want to say that it was lowering the risk of death by any cause. So that could have been cardiovascular death or infections, anything. They did look specifically at the reduction of breast cancer death, and they found about a 25% reduction, which is great. However, they found that it was not significant. So, one thing we do know is that green leafy vegetables has a phenomenal benefit for women who are breast cancer survivors. So it's one of those food groups that you want to start incorporating into your diet. But hey, I know you're here because you don't like the taste of green vegetables. So we're going to get into some tips and tricks in a little while. I do want to also point out that women who have never had a breast cancer diagnosis, they can also benefit from eating vegetables in their diet, and vegetables that are low in starch, specifically things like green leafy vegetables or even green vegetables like broccoli, which I kind of call the bulky vegetables, cauliflower as well. Women who ate about 2 to 3 servings a day, and that's about 200 to 300 grams, they saw a significant reduction in the risk of breast cancer by about 20%. I do want to add one caveat that that reduction really applied to the hard to treat breast cancer, which is estrogen receptor negative breast cancer. So, green leafy vegetables are also high in what's known as beta carotene. And you're probably a little bit more familiar with beta carotene as it relates to orange and yellow vegetables such as carrots and pumpkins and squashes. So, there has been shown that women who eat vegetables high in beta carotenes typically have about a 22% lower risk of a new breast cancer diagnosis. And that's whether it's related to estrogen receptor positive or estrogen receptor negative breast cancers. So, you're still a little bit hesitant about eating green vegetables, and I can understand most people, again, really have to acquire a taste. And I was in that category myself. It was something that I had to come to love to eat. However, there are a couple of ways that you can transition into eating, let's see, a salad full of kale and spring lettuce mix. But before you do that, one of the easy ways that I always like to coach women on is really what I call drown your green vegetables. And essentially, that just means adding green vegetables such as kale, arugula, even the lettuces to your soups and smoothies. Probably most people will start off with soups because most people like a little bit more of a savory flavor to their diet. However, soups are fantastic because you can mix the bitter taste of the green leafy vegetables in with sweeter root vegetables, which are more grounding and just makes you feel fuller. So, adding those green leafy vegetables to soups that contain a lot of sweet potatoes, red lentils for some protein, as well as some of the pumpkins and squashes are a fantastic way for you to start to eat more green leafy vegetables. Therefore, masking the taste of these vegetables in a food group that most people typically enjoy. Now, I will admit that a green smoothie, as was seen on the screen here, is probably not going to be one of your most favorite foods if you already don't like eating green vegetables. However, there are some sweeter foods that I find that can mask the flavor and the bitterness of the green vegetables, such as pineapples and bananas, and you can add that to your smoothie. As well, you can do the berries, which on the lower side of the screen, you see a woman making a smoothie with some berries in it. And spinach is one of those green leafy vegetables that tends to be masked in terms of the color as well as flavor in a lot of berry type of smoothies. So, one thing that I do want you to take away with is yes, vegetables are an important part of breast cancer prevention, whether or not it's a new or recurring breast cancer. We know that we're getting toxins from the foods that we're eating, as well as the water. And what the science shows is that green leafy vegetables is able to help detoxify the body of these toxins and also work on areas where cancer starts, and that's in the DNA. It helps to prevent the DNA damage with the phytochemicals that are in the green vegetables. It helps the immune system function properly. And this all helps to lower inflammation in the body. Green leafy vegetables are an anti inflammatory food, and it's vitally important for you to start getting more of those in your diet if you're focused in on preventing breast cancer. So, to fast track your breast cancer prevention, start drowning your green veggies in a liquid type of food. Soups are a fantastic way to start, especially for those who are focused on more savory types of flavors. However, if you're on the sweeter side, green smoothies or vegetables that are masked within the green smoothie. Those berry type of smoothies are a fantastic way for you to start eating green leafy vegetables. Examine your diet and lifestyle. Determine which foods you need to eat to start prevention. Remember, everything that you really eat is important. Getting a healthy diet is important. And this includes things that we know may cause damage and finding out ways to help eliminate them. As always, if you need more assistance, I'll drop the link in the description box on how to set up a complimentary call with me or join a future session. So until next time, thanks so much for watching. I'm Dr. D. Grace, and we will see you the next time. Thanks. Bye.